What's up, everybody? We are back with a special edition of the Ad Podcast today. For those of you guys who are regular listeners, you might remember a couple of weeks ago, I put out a call to action to the audience. I was really interested in highlighting personal stories of anybody who had been affected by the horrific fires that we've had in Southern California. Specifically people from our industry, from the advertising and media industry that I mainly cover. And I was reminded by a couple of good friends, Ray and Wayne, who serve on the board and are regular contributors to Ad Relief. And Ad Relief is a 501c3 that does a bunch of cool things throughout the year to bring our community together, generally in times of joy and celebration, the golf tournament and various other initiatives, but they raise money throughout the year to have funds on hand to help members of our community in times of need. And as we all know, I think at this point, there's probably not anyone in our industry, both those who work in the Southern California area or have ties to Los Angeles. I worked in that market and lived in LA for over 10 years in the beginning of my career. And, nobody doesn't know someone who's been affected. And Wayne and Ray were nice enough to reach out and connect me with Robbie Burton, who is the current president of Ad Relief. And Robbie was nice enough to take some of his time and come on the show today to tell you guys a little bit about Ad Relief, what they do, share some stories about folks from our industry who've been personally affected by these horrible tragedies. And we don't ever want to say that one story is more important than another. But we do want to highlight and use my specific platform of those of you who follow from the advertising and media industry to support each other in some of these really difficult times. So with that being said, Robbie, sorry we're meeting under such conditions, but excited to have you on the show nonetheless.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, you got it, man. So, why don't we kick it off? Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become involved in Ad Relief and become president? And then why don't you tell us a little bit about what Ad Relief exists to do?
Sure. So I'm originally from Chicago. I moved to LA in 2009. Um, didn't really know anyone. Got involved in the advertising community kind of on a whim, just to see what it was like. Met a ton of people. Started to really get more and more involved. Ended up going on to make my career in advertising. I started with Ad Relief in about 10 years ago, so about 2015, when a friend of mine kind of mentioned it, had asked if I was interested in getting involved. I was curious to give back in some way to the community that has really given me a lot and a lot of friends and connections over the years. Um, and I started going to volunteering at events. I started kind of reaching out to my network, trying to bring more people into it. Um, I eventually became the secretary for Ad Relief in 2020, and then this year in 2025, I've actually been elected president. So it's been a cool journey. Um, Ad Relief, just a little bit of background for yourself and the audience, was actually started in 1972 when someone in the advertising industry had a medical issue, and their colleagues kind of rallied around them to raise some funds to help them out. That mission really struck a chord and has really been what we've been doing ever since. So the idea behind Ad Relief is just by working in the LA advertising community, there is just this floor, this base safety net that we've created in case anyone has severe life crisis, which is traditionally what Ad Relief's been about. Obviously, the wildfires, COVID-19, there's been a lot of activity the last few years. So Ad Relief's been a very active player in the market, helping people out.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's what I've always enjoyed about Ad Relief is the fact that you can come together as a community and do these kind of cool networking events that we all get to participate in, but that there's like a bigger purpose behind it. Like, I think our industry, especially from the outside looking in, can maybe sometimes judge us for being a little gluttonous with, how much we like to celebrate ourselves with statues and award parties and amazing conferences, and getting to go to all of these cool things. And yeah, it's a very glamorous industry, and there is a lot of glad handing and a lot of fun and a lot of social components to it. But what I've always been struck in about the ad relief events that I've been, invited to be a participant in, mainly the ones that I've participated in, is the golf tournament that you guys put on every year.
Yeah.
But what's so much fun about that is, we all get to come together as a community. It's all different agencies that, yesterday were in a boardroom somewhere in the world pitching against each other, competing against each other for award shows and business and personnel and headcount. It's a cutthroat industry. There was a TV show made about it, the pitch, right? Because,
Yep.
that's ultimately, what we do. But something like ad relief can bring everybody together for a higher purpose, and give back, to the community that has, like you said, given us great friendships, careers, ways to feed our families, and to make a living. Um, yeah, and the funny thing is, always kind of thought about it. I was like, oh, like what would be a situation that would qualify somebody, to be in a situation that would need to receive support from ad relief. Sometimes you think about, it's like, well, we're not, guys out on the docks loading, barrels onto ships or anything like that. We're not getting injured in the line of duty and stuff like that. But the reality is that tragedy can strike anybody, anytime. Life is short, and like you mentioned, health situations, people going through health crises. Sadly, that's an everyday occurrence. Probably somewhere within our industry. So that's a great cause, and one that I've always been proud to support. And whenever I've been at a company where I can shift my, cause-related marketing dollars into something, I've been glad to support it. But like you said, over the last few years, we've seen some unprecedented times with COVID-19. But these fires are just so much more visceral, so much more visual. The entire country kind of has been watching as California has been dealing with this over the last few weeks. So could you maybe tell me a little bit about that day? Where were you? What were some of the stories that were coming in? What was that day like for you personally? Just being a native Angelino. And then when did you connect the dots of like, oh gosh, this is going to be something that we're going to need to get involved in?
Yeah, I remember thinking that day I was at a co-working spot, which is partly outdoors, and just thinking like, wow, it really is, as windy as everyone say it's going to be, and feeling a little bit anxious. Obviously, that night when things started kicking off, we just were glued to the news, seeing what was going on, and just seeing fires pop up everywhere. It was just terrifying, and we have um, personal friends in both the Palisades area and the Eaton Canyon area, and so we were obviously
Mm,
very, very concerned about them. Um, and I think from the ad relief side, that morning after, I sent a note to our team just saying like, guys, this is devastating, and this is a huge moment for ad relief to step up, and we need to get our voice out there and make sure people know that one of our challenges at any time is awareness, and making sure people know that ad relief exists and that we're here to
mm,
help, but particularly in these moments of severe and immediate crisis. And so we've connected with other sort of LA based advertising organizations like Think LA and others, and just trying to see if we can coordinate our efforts, coordinate messaging, and make sure we're getting resources out. Um, and we did just see quite a flood of cases. We obviously can't get into specific names and everything, but just cases of people that lost everything over the course of
mm.
12 hours.
Uh,
We had people that they initially just thought they were losing power, and so they just went to the in-laws' house thinking that they'd be coming back in a few hours once power's on, and then obviously the entire house is gone. Just
oh,
just devastating. no time to pack, no time to bring anything. You literally just got in the car thinking you'd be back in a couple hours, and now you really are starting from square one. So they're incredibly difficult conversations to have with people, but they are um, unbelievably appreciative, and many of them did not even know that ad relief existed, and they were connected to us through a contact that did. And so it has been obviously a devastating experience for all of those involved, but also it's one of those things they say it brings out the best in people, and so we have really seen tremendous support for those who lost everything, and an amazing response from the advertising community.
Wow, wow. Last time I talked to Ray, I think the official count was that you guys had 14 cases that you were dealing with. Has that number gone up, or has that number increased since we last checked in with you guys?
Yeah, last checked, I believe we're at 27
Mm,
cases. So
wow.
it is continuing to go up. We're yeah, we're continuing to try to reach out to folks that have not heard about us or need assistance to reach out. And we're also reaching out to the wider community, the golf day list, the November luncheon list, people that have come to our events, to also considering if they are considering donating to fire relief, to consider ad relief, because they really, every dollar that goes in straight back to people in our industry that are struggling.
Yeah, no, that's amazing work. Um, like you mentioned, historically, ad relief has, at its inception, existed to help out, an individual, cases that pop up here and there because of, more predictable situations like health crises or, loss of income, things of that nature. How are you guys prepared to deal with such like a large amount of impact at once? Has that been challenging for you guys, or were you guys prepared financially and with volunteer support to activate around something so large and so high scale?
Yeah, thankfully, financially, we were prepared. We have
Wow,
provided
that's so
more
cool.
funds to people in the last 20 days than we have in a long time. So that's I'm happy to say that we've been able to do that. Um, I would say from an organizational standpoint, it is we did have to kind of adjust our workflow a little bit, just because we did have such an influx of cases. Typically at a given time we'll have we're between like 2 and 4 cases, is a more standard number, and they aren't usually as acute as like someone who literally has a vehicle in the cars they're wearing.
Mm, mm.
um, and so we have had to kind of adjust our processes in terms of vetting people, bringing people to ad relief, and also kind of figuring out how we're going to give ongoing support to those that need it. So the the sort of cruel irony of a lot of this is a lot of the people that we're helping are people that have helped ad relief in the past, for
Wow,
events,
wow.
and
Hmm.
donated to or volunteered at our events. And so um, at the very least, we're happy that we're able to give back to those who've helped us and helped our cause as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, have you gotten partnership with holding companies, agencies, vendor, ad tech, martech, publishers? Have clients got involved? Is there any specific stories or folks you want to highlight and give kudos to? I know you can't talk a lot about individuals, but would you like to highlight some folks from an organizational standpoint who've really stepped up and been helpful to you guys?
Yeah, I would say the Think LA team has been really outstanding in terms of just helping us get our message out there, and helping us just unite as an LA based organization. Um, there are ongoing kind of discussions of kind of holding companies and agencies that are looking to donate and make sizable donations to Ad Relief, which
Wow.
we're very, incredibly appreciative of, and really will um, allow us to continue our efforts. And so, yeah, I think those are the two that kind of come to mind the most, without being able to get into too many specifics off the top of my head.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, of course. So, obviously, the easiest, most effective way to help you guys out is to donate directly and know that those donations are going to be passed through to our industry peers and colleagues who've been directly affected. But that being said, we're a creative industry. There are a lot of folks that have big platforms or are associated with people that have large platforms, large social media following, especially my colleagues in the influencer marketing world. Are there other ways that people can get involved, either from a media donation perspective or helping amplify the message of Ad Relief or amplifying your guys' efforts, or even from a volunteer perspective? Are there other resources that you guys are in need of that people can be helpful with in addition to donations and contributions?
Yeah, I would absolutely say, at the very least, just please helping us share the message that Ad Relief is there for anyone in the LA-based advertising community on the, client side, agency side, publisher side. We are here, and this is why we exist. Um, I also wanted to call out that Think LA and several other industry organizations have put together something called Add Together, which is essentially a community drive event that's going to be happening on January 31st at Firestone Brewing in Venice from 12 to 7. Both raising funds and donation items for those who've been affected by the fires. So if you are in the area and able to help out and attend, that would be another great way to help.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if people want to get in touch with you and potentially donate resources or time, what's the best way for them to get in touch about that event?
The best way to get in touch would be to just reach out on the contact form on the Ad Relief site. It actually goes to at adrelief.org. It goes directly to our executive director, Nicole, who's outstanding, and she gets the message to me, and we'll get the message to our entire board of how we can help or how we can best assist.
That's awesome. Well, I know Dustin is the CMO of Firestone, so it doesn't surprise me that he's lended his facility and is getting involved. I know Dustin was high up at Guitar Center before he went over to Firestone. So yeah, great guy, and doesn't surprise me that Firestone is getting involved. So really cool. Well, awesome. Well, is there anything we haven't covered? I don't want this to be a long episode, other than highlighting, the essential things the essential messages that you guys want to get out there, the stories and how people get involved. But anything else that we haven't covered that you want to share?
I would say just really briefly, the main goals of Ad Relief going forward are really just awareness, particularly amongst the sort of digital and digital out of home, some of these newer mediums. We're not as well, not as much awareness about Ad Relief. So just, helping let the community know that we exist. And also, if you've never been to any of our events, we are potentially rethinking our first event of the year, which will be taking place in the spring. So more news about that soon. But our other events, the fall golf event and the November luncheon, are absolute staples within the industry, and absolutely vital to helping us continue our efforts, but also just an awesome way to network and see your friends and see your clients and see your partners. So please do consider coming to check it out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think those events will be even more poignant this year, being able to come together as a community, especially with this as a backdrop and understanding, what all this money being raised is going to, especially in light of the current circumstances. So, All right. Well, hey, anywhere else you want to point people to connect with you directly, or if anybody wants to get involved with Ad Relief, or how do folks reach out and connect directly with you?
Yeah, to connect directly with me, just send me an email at my work email. That's just Robbie, Robbie, at thoughtcatalog.com. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. Just connect with me and shoot me a note, and would love to chat.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man. Really appreciate you coming on. We're going to link in the show notes to the website so people can learn more. And if any of you out there know somebody who is being affected in our industry by this tragedy and doesn't know about Ad Relief, make sure to direct them to Ad Relief's website. And the more this episode or content from Ad Relief gets shared or posted to your professional network, the more people who can get involved and help hopefully contribute. So, well, Robbie, thanks for spending a little bit of your time today to bring us up to speed on your guys' efforts. I'm going to make a special commitment to be part of the community more so this year than ever. I've always tried to, but I think this year more than ever, it's important, especially for those of us that have the budgets, are in control of the budgets to do these types of events. Let's get out there and let's support in any way we can. So thanks again, man. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Appreciate it.
You got it. Talk to you soon.
Bye.